Boom.
Boom.
We're back, baby. New episode of the pod. A little different today. No Christian and Joe.
So we're the boys. They're missing out.
I know, bro. I was saying I haven't done a one-on-one interview in forever. I stopped doing them because I realized that it was just so much work, and my network ended of people that I could contact.
Yeah.
And but we're changing it up. We're going back to our roots.
All right.
With Mr. Andrew Flair. Is Flair your last name?
It's my last name.
That's a cool fucking last name, dude.
Appreciate it.
Quickly, before we dive into it, why don't you let the people know who you are for anyone who doesn't know who you are? So,
make YouTube videos. Not fitness, clearly. Okay? Fishing, hunting.
Is that the category you would?
Yeah.
It's funny because you read. How do we know each other? How did you find me?
I mean, I feel like I've just known about you, you know? I feel like you probably made a lot of guys just kind of keep tabs on Max. I don't know. I feel like I've been subscribed since probably high school. Maybe I was into fitness.
Oh shit, how old are you?
27.
Oh wow. So you've been aware of my channel for a long time?
Yeah, off and on. And then I think does anyone actually go to subscriptions when they go to YouTube? You used to go to homepage. Do you go to subscriptions?
I go to my I'm actually on YouTube. YouTube's my favorite platform.
Yeah.
I consume content so much, and the handful of people that I am subscribed to, I get excited when they upload.
Okay.
But you know how you upload videos and then the views fluctuate and stuff, and you're kind of I don't understand, why doesn't everyone watch every single one of my pieces of content?
Yeah.
But then I'm subscribed to a bunch of people, and I'm no, I'm not watching that one.
Yeah, you're picky and choosy. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I've had YouTube. I've done YouTube for 13 years.
Shit.
I feel old now.
2012 or?
Yeah, 2012. So I was 14 or something in high school.
Damn, bro.
You subscribe to a lot of people over that time. So I don't go to my subscriptions because I subscribe to people that I probably could just unsubscribe. But either way.
But you're just in case they upload some dramatic shit, you want to be there.
I'll know about it. So I think what happened was over the course of the years I subscribed to people, you being one of them. Oh. And then one day I hit subscriptions and I was like, hey, this guy, I see he's got the candy deal now. Let's see what's going on. Basically, catching up with you a little bit.
Yeah, because I think you DM me a while back, and you were kind of hey, I don't know if it was before you started the jerky.
It was early on in the jerky business.
Yeah, and you're and I didn't even. I guess I was kind of ignorant to the other spaces of YouTube.
Yep.
I was oh, this guy is popping on YouTube in an industry I didn't even know this pocket of YouTube existed. Of course it does.
Yeah.
And
different.
Whenever I when I was telling my wife about you, I categorize him I think he's hunting and fishing YouTube.
Yeah, hunting and fishing. Yeah,
you got to be one of the larger ones, right?
Up there. Yeah, I think there's a couple guys.
You know what I find interesting is that content that you make it's so interesting because it's so raw and people love it.
Yep.
Because you upload every single day.
Yeah, well, I've slowed down. I've had a couple kids, which you've got two.
Well, I'm working on them.
You got two now because you got Dude and what's the new one?
Dolly.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're working on some kids.
There it is. Working on. You're one of those guys.
Yes.
Trying.
Trying. That's you got it caught.
You're one of those guys. We're trying. You're you don't have to tell me that.
We're having sex.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got two kids. Actual kids and two dogs, but so I've slowed down a little bit. I'm down to right now. I'm uploading the least amount I've ever uploaded in the 13 years. I'm at 2 a week.
Really?
Which is low. I used to do
I thought you uploaded almost daily.
Not anymore. I've had to slow down a little bit.
And you start every video with the shoo. Is it?
That's it.
Are you saying shoo or is it she-you? I need to know the origin of this.
I don't know the origin. The spelling is Sheeew, 3 E's.
Okay.
Shoo.
I need to dive in because I have a lot of questions about this sound that you start.
Okay.
And it's randomly in your video whenever there's the next day or something.
It's a transition, yeah.
Because as a creator, I understand probably what you have to go through. You're all right, guys, hey, I'm about to film a clip. All right. By the way, I'm gonna do this little sound, just kind of ignore it, but shoo, and you start.
Yeah, it just gets you in it.
And then, okay, how did that start?
I think it just kind of, it evolved. I feel probably been 2018, 2017. I started jumping out of my truck. That was the transition.
Jumping out of your truck?
Yeah, not while I was moving, but in the parking lot, I just jump out. And I think initially I think it started off as woo, you know, like we're here.
Mm.
And eventually I don't know why, it's shoo now. I don't know why though.
Now here's a question: do you get annoyed having to say it?
It's all right. It's all right. Like, do I get annoyed while filming? Or
Just
do I
in
get annoyed
general?
when people are like, give me a shoe?
Oh, I'm sure everyone says, "Give me a shoe."
Everybody says, give me. I can't say I'm annoyed because it comes from a good place. You know? Like, if somebody wants me to say shoe, it's because they're a viewer and they've been supportive and they're the reason why I'm where I'm at. So, like, I'm not going to be mad about it.
I'm sure you're in Nebraska, right?
Yep.
Are you in like country Nebraska? I don't know.
Nah, Omaha, which is like the biggest city.
Okay, so I'm sure when you go out, do you just hear that sound randomly? Just like you're
happens.
walking to Chipotle and you just hear it?
Yes.
Frequently?
Yeah, like on a daily basis.
You're like, here we go.
Yeah. If I go up to like a Shields or Bass Pro Shops, like, yeah, you're guaranteed to hear that from across the room. Yeah. And they just throw their hands up and they see shoe, and then it's just like a mutual, hey, I know what you do and I know you, and then they just don't even talk to him. It's just.
Do you have like I don't know how, like, you know, some people have for their audience they have I don't know, like names for their audience. Like I'm kind of like Potato Nation. So like people kind of, if people like will say certain things that like I reference to like my audience as like back in the day. And if people are like, bro, I'm like part of Potato Nation, that means like in my head I'm like, oh, that means you've been watching for a while.
Yeah,
like,
you're an OG.
Did you have any like community names, or is it just the sound?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about it. I don't like. There's definitely some inside jokes, you know, that people will reference. Like for a long time, I was known as the small fish catcher.
Because always got a little baby dick fish.
I mean, I feel like I didn't, but like one of the other YouTubers, Lunkers TV, that like we did the Googan Squad stuff with, like he like made a joke and it just stuck. And it was like people were buying merch that said like Flair fish on it, and I was like, all right, whatever.
I once created. I think I saw two different colors, but I think I made like 400 or 500. I made hats with a literal potato on the hat.
How'd it sell?
Sold out the first day.
Love it.
You know, it's so funny. It's so funny. And if people actually there's people out there that like still have these hats, which is great. I don't even have them. But I remember sending to my hat manufacturer, like I was like, here's the image I want on the hat, and she's like, Max, I think you made a mistake. It's a potato. And I was like, no.
You're like, that's it though.
That's the exact thing I want on this hat.
I like that. But no, I mean, to answer your question, I didn't really have like a name, like the Low Gang and the Jake Paulers.
Right.
I never went that route.
No,
probably should have, but
okay.
unless I'm missing it, like I don't know, you do a lot over 13 years, but nothing's really sticking out to me.
Yeah,
Flair fam, maybe, I don't know, I just made that up. Like I could have called him that from time to time.
And you just have like the one channel, right?
Yeah, I've technically got two, but I haven't uploaded on the other one in a couple years. I had BeefCake Construction. It's not a real construction company.
Oh.
But it would just be like me and my buddies like trying to build cabins and like do projects.
I was trying to like, I tried to go, because ever since you reached out to me, we've kind of kept in touch and like text here and there, a lot about like business stuff. And especially when you do like warehouse updates, I like to stay in that world. Now, I don't know anything about the hunting and fishing. I want to get to that like later because I have a lot of questions about that shit.
Yep.
But I realized like you don't even do a lot of like podcasts or anything. Is there a reason for that? You just...
Not real. Like we did podcasts. So a little bit more of a backstory. Like started hunting or fishing videos 2012. 2016, I started link collabing. Okay, so you've been around YouTube long enough.
Link
collabing.
Link collabing.
Link. What's link?
What'd you say?
Like collaborating with other YouTubers. Like what we're doing.
Oh, I thought you said link collabing.
Oh no, sorry.
Oh shit.
So
I'm going crazy.
2016. Yeah, you've been around long. Like collabing. Maybe in the fitness world happened sooner than like the hunting and fishing world, but like 2015, like you never saw your two favorite YouTube fishing YouTubers like fish together.
Because they were enemies.
Well, not necessarily, maybe, but like it wasn't a thing. Like collaborating with other creators, like it just didn't exist in our world.
It was big in the fitness world.
I'm sure it's huge.
Now it doesn't do shit.
Yeah, you don't push. Yeah, you used to be able to push your audience to one to the other and actually like do it. But
and you could get like tens of thousands of subscribers in a day.
Spike. Yeah. So like 2015, nobody did it. Like you had your favorite YouTubers that did the fishing videos, but they all lived in their own world, different states. No one like commented on each other's stuff. There was no community, I guess. So then 2015, I went to like a big fishing convention called ICAST, which is in Florida, and then met one of the other bigger YouTubers in the fishing space, John B.
I don't know anyone in the...
So there's John B. Okay, he's like an OG. Okay. There's a bunch of OGs. So I linked up with him in 2015. So I'd have been like 18, and like I put him in my video. He put me in his video, and like everyone like lost their shit. They were like, you know, John, like they didn't realize we knew each other, right? Or like talk to each other. It like broke the internet in our little world.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we're like, oh, this is cool. So then like I would travel to him, and I'd go fish his spots that his fans know. Now they're seeing it from my POV, and they just thought it was the coolest shit, right? When I explained it, everyone's like, no shit, it's collaboration. But like at the time, it just didn't happen. It'd be like watching like, I don't know, like it's like Disney Channel. You know, back in the day, like Hannah Montana would just show up on That's So Raven. You're like, what the shit? You know, it's like one of those. That's how it felt back then, right? Where you don't realize these guys exist like together.
Yeah.
So the success of those videos then just led to us like collaborating with other YouTubers. So then we built something called the Googan Squad. And so the Googan Squad, well, the name...
Yeah, how'd that come up?
Googan means shitty fisherman.
Oh, in the fishing world.
So we like just leaned into it.
Okay.
Like, everybody wants to be professional fishermen, and we were like, nah, we're gonna like just go have fun and not like take it serious.
So your content was more like focused around like the camaraderie and like the goofiness.
Yes.
And you also happen to be fishing.
Correct.
And if something crazy happens, that's awesome, but you're really like just there for the boys shooting the shit.
Yes. And so that's what started the YouTube like revolution in the fishing space was that. And then all of a sudden tons of other people started doing it, and now it's huge. Like there's hundreds of them.
Oh shit, hundreds of like fishing channels?
Oh, yeah.
Or like hunting and the outdoor world?
Yeah, hundreds, yeah. And that's what kind of started it.
So the Googan Squad, like, so did y'all create like a community channel, or was it just like us, what did that mean?
Yeah, so 2015 is when we like introduced it. 2016 is when we all started linking up together. So like John B., Lunkers TV, which is the guy I mentioned before.
Don't leave anyone out, dude. They're gonna be like,
you
didn't mention this
AP
guy?
Basson was there. Lake Fork guy, One Rod, One Reel Fishing. That was like the group.
Are they all like similar age, like your age?
Ish. I mean, I think Lake Fork guy and Rob are like mid-30s, call it. And then the rest of us are all like upper 20s now. So similar.
Okay.
But what happened was we all started fishing together. It was like right after high school. And then we were like, why would we go to college? Why don't we just do this? So what we did was we got a house in Dallas. And
Hype house, bro. Early on,
not as
hype
high,
house.
not as high, but yeah, early pre-hype house. The model we really liked and went after was, are you familiar with anything in the gaming, like Phase, Optic?
I'm aware of. I'm aware. I'm like aware of a lot of the spaces on the internet.
Okay.
Not so much in the outdoor world.
Yep.
But like I'm kind of like if I could be like, oh that's FouseyTube. Like I know him, but I don't really watch him. But I know these people.
You know of him, yeah. So Lunkers TV was friends with Hector, who owned Optic Gaming. Hector Rodriguez.
I'm aware of Optic.
Yeah,
I know the Optic in the
So
favor.
Optic was like Hector's who started it.
Okay.
So Rob was friends with him, and he liked to fish too. So like when we had this idea, we were all collaborating. Hector's like, you guys need to get a house together because that's what Phase and Optic did back in the day. They got the content houses, and that was like what kind of started their whole thing.
Okay. So what year is this?
So we would have got we called the MTB house because they sponsored it. That would have been like 2017.
Wait.
Dallas.
In Dallas. So you moved.
I just traveled a lot.
Oh, shit,
I would just come down for a week or two, go back for a week or two, and just do that for a couple
So you
of years.
rented a house?
Yeah, we rented a house. And so like some of the guys lived there. Rob was from Dallas, and he has like a family, so like he didn't live in the house, but whatever. So I would like fly in or drive in early on. We would just drive and stay for like a week. And this was all to answer your question, did you have a group channel?
Yeah.
So we started the Googan Squad channel. And so the channel revolved around like us living in this house, like very mediocre, like reality TV type stuff. Like not really, but like
was
drama
that
and
the
everything
first
else.
was the Googan Squad like the first time? Like when did you start breaking out of like when I started making fitness content, for example, it was really, really short videos and it was just my workout with commentary. And then I'd eventually be like, all right guys, here's like my thoughts before I go in the gym for like 5 seconds, or like, and then now it's like a little bit, here what I'm doing. I started like breaking out of like showing my other part of the world. So is that like, was the house like when you started showing things that weren't just literally fishing?
Fishing, yes, exactly. Yep. So like the timeline was like, basically when we started filming each other, we realized the audience craved that. It didn't make sense to us. Like, I'm here to teach you guys the 5 best ways to catch bass when it's hot outside, right? And then
wait, give me one of the best ways to catch bass while it's hot outside. Give me your best in one tip.
Fish deeper water. I don't know.
All right, banger.
I mean,
welcome.
I don't know. Like if it's hot, go deep. I don't know. And so like, yeah, in my mind, I'm like, they're just here for like the meat and potatoes, like your workout.
Yeah.
But then when like we'd film with other people, they would think it's funny if we go to the gas station and like show each other buying shit, you know, and
You probably were mind was blown.
Yeah. And we're like, why do you guys give a shit? But like, that's what they like. So that was our realization. Like we should get a house, all move in together and film like podcasts. So that goes back to your question. Did you ever do podcasts? So we had a podcast like 2016, 17, 18, 19 with the Googan Squad
For a
in
while,
the house.
okay.
Yeah. So again, to answer your question, I've done the podcast thing, not just personally, like on my channel, but I've done the Googan Squad podcast. And then we had the group channel. So I think that answered the two questions you asked me. But so we did that for a few years and ran around, filmed. When we've traveled, we've been, you know, different countries in Africa and China and
To fish?
yeah, everywhere. Me and Peric went to India. We've been to Brazil a few times. Been to Mexico a lot. Canada. So we just all like fly to one location, document like 2v2s and like different challenges.
How does one travel with fishing
Gear?
poles and gear?
Yeah, you just check it. They got like these tubes,
Oh shit!
and like TSA will like snap the shit out of them usually. So like that's always fun.
I mean, I'll make sure they break down.
Yeah,
Okay.
they like make sure they're like not a bomb, and they just start snapping the tips off and shit. That happened a lot.
Nice.
It's part of it.
Okay, so you started traveling all around.
Yep. So traveled with the boys, filmed videos, and then I would fly back home or drive back home, and then I would just make like my own personal content. And then so it's like you kind of live like two lives almost.
How were you? Were you like 50-50 of like I'm putting 50% effort into my channel in my world and 50% in the? Because I guess what I'm eventually going to get is like I'm sure the dynamics of having a group. You start realizing the flaws in it of like maybe like people putting in equal effort. Who's going to do all the work?
Yeah.
How you going to agree to? I don't know if you do brand deals and all that shit. Like,
yeah, it's tough.
How did all that?
Yeah. So we would do things called, we named them Googan Weeks. So like everyone would come in and it's like put your own shit aside, and maybe it's not 7 days or even 5 days. It could be like 3 days, 4 days. But it's like you go in for Googan Week. That's everybody's priority. If you have something to do personally, like piss off, basically.
Leave it at home.
You leave it at home. So we'd all go to a destination or we'd go to the house, whatever. We'd plan out. We try to film like, depending on the video, but like we can knock out 3-4 videos a day, depending on what it is. Like, okay, we're doing a podcast, a Hot Ones style, challenge. Like we do dumb shit. Like we just go play basketball and stuff. People got to the point where like people didn't care about fishing at all. They just want to see us as a group doing dumb shit. So we would go maybe fish in the morning and then do something like 1v1 cook off, right? Or some
The whole video
whatever.
would be like this cook off or something.
Yeah, so the one video would be like a cook off, one video would be like fishing in the morning, one video would be the podcast that evening, and our goal was like bang out. Our goal was a month's worth of content, uploading twice a week, so call it 8 videos in one Googan week, whether it was like 3 to 5 days of filming.
Was there a leader of the Googan Squad? An unofficial leader?
Yeah, I feel like Lunkers TV definitely like headed it. He's the reason why it all kind of came together. He was the adult in the group. Like we were all like 18.
And was it crushing in views? I mean, I know it's relative to the time frame.
Yeah. At the time, yes, like the top, for anything in the fishing space we were the top. Like talk of the town, then you've got, it comes with all your haters and, there's a bunch of drama. Like it's funny, you look back and you're like, why was there so much drama? You just fished. In the moment there was.
What would be the what would be like in fitness? I'm trying to think of something that like people would like shit on individuals for in the fitness community for like you started like people getting called out for, whether it could be I don't know, the form of the way that you like lift or like the diet that someone had or like your genetics are shitty. What did people start like attacking in like the fishing? Were there like fishing elitists that are like these guys don't know actually how to fish? Like,
oh yeah. I mean, well, and like that's why we named ourselves the Googan Squad because like growing up, I wanted to fish for a living, bass fish competitively. And the only reason why I wanted to do that, it took me years to realize this, was because I thought that was the only way to make money in fish, right? So if you're like, I want to play basketball for a living, you would say, okay, go to the NBA. Like that's the same thing in fishing, right? You'd be like, okay, you got to go, and like they have professional bass fishing, you've got entry fees, you have sponsors, you travel around, you basically sleep in your truck or get a hotel if you are make enough money. Most of these guys don't make a ton of money. Which I didn't know any of this because you just watch on like ESPN2 at like 6 a.m. on a Saturday. I'm like 10 years old and I'm just jacked because I got to watch these guys catch fish. Like it was just my world. Like some people don't get it, and so like growing up is what I do. So I started like my own high school. Like my high school didn't have a fishing team or club, so like I just started one and like got the approval to like be a representative of my high school to then go travel. And I like did regionals and nationals and like did all these competitions, bass fishing, because I thought this is what I like to do, and this is the only way to make a living at it. YouTube changed that completely. So like I started doing YouTube videos just because I wanted to, but what happened was I'd figure out like, oh, if I make a review about worms, but I like shout this brand out, they'll send me a free pack, right?
And you'd be stoked to like
freaking stoked.
Do a whole promo for like 5 packs of worm
Oh,
gummies.
5 would be like, holy shit. Like they send me 1 and I'm losing it. Cause like, you know, this is like, you know, even before you're 16, before you can really like work.
Yeah.
Like you only mow so many freaking lawns, right? And so I'm like, these guys will send me free fishing lures. Like this is the craziest shit. And so like, if you go look at my earliest videos, they're still up. It's like me just like, you know, pimping out like whatever, right? Whatever I could find, because it's free. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I want to be a professional fisherman. You go watch these guys. They've got $100,000 boats. They've got, you know, tens of thousands of dollars worth of gear, right? So you grow up and you think you have to have this shit. Like if you want to compete at that level, you have to have all this shit. Well, I don't have any money, but I can make a YouTube video. So it's like, how many YouTube videos can I make to acquire all this shit? And like, that was my mission in high school because I wanted to be a professional fisherman. What happened was I was so consistent with the videos trying to get like free stuff to acquire to be a professional fisherman that by the time I got out of high school, I had a following. I was making more money off of the views than I would if I went and worked at Shields, which is where I worked as a cashier.
Yeah.
And I was like, wonder, like, in this, because nobody made money on YouTube, right? This is like early days.
Yeah, I mean, 2012 to really 2015, 16, like, it was just, you did it for the love of the game.
Exactly.
And, like, if you could, I remember the same as you were with, like, the fishing gear. I'd get, like, one tub of protein for free a month, and I'd be like,
stoked.
Hey, I'll plug the shit out of you in every video to get my $50. Like,
yes.
For sure.
Yep. So it's the same thing. And so, like, I was tunnel visioned on making content, teaching people how to catch fish, internally getting free stuff because I wanted to be this pro fisherman and I knew I needed stuff, to why don't I just make YouTube videos? And like, but it wasn't an option 3 years ago or 2 years ago, even 1 year ago. Like it just happened at that time. Yeah. So that's when I collaborated, and then people like lit up, like views go up. And I'm like, that's why we named it the Googan Squad, because we were like, not to be that guy, but like we can go make a really good living, not sleeping in our truck, traveling, you know, basically like abiding by these kind of BS rules in the professional fishing world. Like there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a grind. It's a freaking grind. Like anyone that's a professional bass fisherman, like holy shit, they might be happy, but it's only because they're super passionate about it. But like the lifestyle sucks.
It's like the bodybuilders, you see the videos where they're like sleeping in the van in the Gold's Gym parking lot because they're that dedicated to like working out. Yes. Like they're sacrificing their whole lives. I'm like, no, I don't want that.
Yeah. And so that's what happened is like when I went to that trade show in 2015, I met, you know, it's like meeting, if you're into basketball, you're meeting your Michael Jordans, right? Yeah. You're meeting these guys. Like you're seeing them in the flesh. And I'm like, I'm starstruck as shit. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like these guys are real. Like that was just kind of what it was. Well, then you get to talking to them and you're like, you guys are like barely living. You know, you have like your 5 guys who are just like crushing, making tons of money.
Who's the most popular fisherman of all time?
Kevin Van Dam.
Is he related to Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I have no idea who that is.
You don't know who Jean-Claude Van Damme is?
John who?
Jean-Claude Van Damme, dude, the actor. He's like fucking. He's like.
I have no idea who that is.
He's like the Steven Seagal almost. You know Steven Seagal?
I know who that is.
He's kind of like him.
Okay, I probably know
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I probably know who he is. I don't know if
definitely
he's
know who he is.
I don't know if he's related.
Okay, anyway.
But that dude's like he actually just retired like a year or two ago. But like,
no. Now let me ask this: is where some people would say, you know, Michael Jordan's the best of all time, LeBron James best. Is he like the undisputed? Like everyone would agree?
Yeah, I mean he's not like an OG. He like literally just retired like last year. I don't think anybody would argue that he's not the best. I think everybody agrees he's the best.
How does one become? Because now my small pea brain, like you have, okay, let's say everyone has the same fishing pole. Okay. Everyone has the same worm sonar thing on the. I don't know what the shit they got out now, but like once you put it in there, like how can you be good at fishing? It's because the fish decide if they want to get on the thing.
Yeah. It's definitely like one, they don't use live bait, so you don't have a worm.
Okay.
It's like that.
Worm's old school.
Yeah, out. Like you can't use any live bait in like professional.
What's the best thing to put on there?
Oh, I don't know. Like it's totally like bass fishing to a non-bass fisherman. If you like sat in a room, you'd be like, these guys are completely full of shit and are nuts. Because like
I just don't get how you can be good at it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like little stuff. Like okay, you've got this plastic worm that's green, but the flake inside of it's red, and that's why you caught more fish. You would be like bullshit. But like bass fishermen are like, nah, 100%.
Yeah, but so wouldn't that just be like the secret of the like better lure that you have is why? Because in my mind, like if like are there competitions where like 3 people are in a lake and they're both on the water and then like, oh, I'm the best at fishing. Like he's so good, he's gonna catch all the fish because he's so good at fishing. But like you just put the thing down there and you just are like, I hope these dumb little fish, no offense to any fish watching, that like they bite my lure.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm assuming like you're good if you can be strong enough to lift the fish out. So
I guess this might help clear it up. In this, I mean, there's new rules now, but like back in the day, and like for the most part, it's best 5. So you bring in 5 fish, combined weight. That's how you would win. If that answers your question, like being good at fishing technically doesn't mean anything. Who catches the 5 biggest fish?
Is there more skill or more luck?
Oh, I mean, skill's huge for sure. Like me and Van Damme, like he'd kick my ass.
I just can't like. If you were to play, let's say you were into tennis and Van Damme was a god tier tennis player, like, okay, his
sense.
skill.
Yeah.
But you're at the fish's mercy.
You are, yeah. There's luck. I mean, there's a chance I could beat Kevin Van Damme. It's not likely, though.
Would you consider yourself on what scale? Are you an expert fisherman?
No. I mean, well, I know a lot, but if you put me in a tournament, no, I'm getting my ass kicked. That's why I did YouTube.
Is it
I was self-aware.
It's like, I could always tell that like people who were like really, really, really into fitness would when they would see my like videos and see I'm popular. I mean, I'm not as popular as I was many years ago, but like I would always, I'm like, I wonder if these guys are like really into the sport or like, man, this fucking guy's popular. Look at him. He doesn't even look like he lifts. He's eating fucking Pop-Tarts and shit.
Yeah.
Like do like the professional fishermen or like scoff at they're like, these people aren't even good at fishing.
Yes. I mean, that's why we did the Googan thing. So like, think about it. Like, aside like Rob was older and like Lunkers and LFG Lake Fork guys, another one of the guys in the group. Like they were older and did like the tournaments and stuff like that. Then you had like 3 or 4 of us that were like younger.
Yeah.
We fished in high school, competed. It's ironic. Like me and a couple of the other YouTubers that we ended up working with, like we fished against each other in competition in high school without even like really knowing it. Like we picked the path of let's take a camera with us. Well, there's thousands of people doing exactly what we're doing, but we were just the pioneers of taking a camera with us. Like we weren't better fishermen than anybody else.
You said a better idea of how to.
I mean, that's the luck of it would be, I thought that filming it would be one, cool, and YouTube was the only place to put it. Everyone's like, why'd you want to pick YouTube? It's the only thing that existed at the time, right? And then once the free product rolled in, and that, in my mind, was my gateway to being a professional bass fisherman, I freaking honed in on it. And all, like, go to school, skip class, whatever I had to do, go get a YouTube video, upload it, send it to the manufacturer, get another pack of worms, get another rod, get another spool of line. And, like, that was my currency back then. So I'd go to Shields, work 3 hours, whatever, till 9 p.m., come home, edit a video, and, like, basically fit it in where I could, where I'm making money from Shields. That's the other reason why I worked at Shields is when you work there, you have like an employee discount, and then it's like a sporting goods store.
Yeah.
It's like you
can get jerky there.
Now you can,
and you can get sour strips there.
Look at that.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. So that was like, I didn't make any money when I worked at Shields. I took all my check, went up to the fishing counter, bought shit, and then went home, used the stuff to catch fish, to then send it to a manufacturer and be like, hey, send me another pack of worms, I'll make another video. Like, that was my way of currency.
Okay, I'm understanding now.
And that was the drive behind it all.
So is the Googan Squad like a memory of the past now?
No, it's there. I think and people ask me that a lot. Like, none of us have hard feelings, at least I don't. Like all the guys are chill. We all grew up and had kids. Not all of us, but a lot of us did.
Do you remember the kind of like time period where it started fizzling? Not like any animosity, but it's hey, like I can't this month. I got I got this. I'm traveling for a wedding, or I'm doing this, or like. I mean,
what stopped the momentum, and it didn't stop it, but like what put a little speed bump was COVID. It's like from 2016, 17 to 2020. I mean, it was never miss an upload, never miss a trip. I mean, just being, and that was like our grind years because I graduated high school in 15. You know, realized when I collaborated with John and these other guys, I'm like, maybe I don't go to college and do because like college has fishing too.
Yeah.
So I'm looking, it's just like sports. You're like high school, college, go fish in college, and then go professional. I'm like, I'm like watching this, and then once I'm like, I meet all the professionals and realize like they're not like making a ton of money. Not that I wanted a bunch of money, but it's just a grind of a life. Like you have a realization, like you meet your hero and you're like, hey, it's not all what it chalked up to be. Like TV makes it look glamorous. They're rolling around these nice boats. You know, they don't own the boats. You have to give them back, right? And you're like, oh shit, okay.
It's like the rappers that rent their Lambos.
Yes, it's not as glamorous. And I was like, man, I like just fishing for fun. Like tournaments always gave me, I wouldn't say anxiety. I don't have anxiety, but like, you know, it's just like tense and you don't win and you're pissed.
Do you want to know why you're tense at fishing tournaments?
Let's hear it.
Because your whole chance of winning is if that little fish with his small fish brain decides to bite on your lure.
It is. And like that's just it. Like these guys that are in professional fishing, whether they can make their mortgage payment that month is determined.
Come on, you fucking fish, dude.
Yes. So like you can imagine, I mean, literally their entire livelihoods are reliant on freaking fish.
I only got the 4-pound bass. You kidding me?
Yes.
Kids were eating beans and rice tonight.
Yeah. That's it.
The 7-pound one didn't catch.
Exactly. So that's like I had a realization at the age of 18, fresh out of high school, that kind of sucks. Like it's not the worst job. You could have worse jobs, right? But like I kind of like this YouTube thing, and I started to make money. Not a ton, a couple $100 a month, right? But enough to live.
I remember the exact like when you start making a couple hundred, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, man, do we really need to do this? And then it was like I meet other guys who felt the same way, like John and Peric and Rob and LFG, like everybody kind of dabbled in tournaments, but like you all get in a room and it's like, dude, this shit kind of sucks. Like it's a ton of stress. It's a lot of luck, right? It's just a grind. And we're like, what if we just mess around and make maybe the same amount, maybe even less? Who cares? It's not about the money. Let's just make a living having fun. And so that's when we kind of like, we decided to brand the opposite direction. We're like, everybody grows up wanting to be Kevin Van Dam, right? And like we realized maybe that life isn't for us. So let's make the YouTube and the brand and the business about Googan, which is shitty. So we owned it.
You leaned into it.
We owned it. Like, Van Dam, I don't know. He probably know who we are. Maybe he does. But, he's like, oh, that Flair guy doesn't even know how to fish. You're right. I don't care.
Bro, you basically...
I don't care.
You basically did the B-Rabbit Slim Shady thing. You're like, I'm going to say all the disses. You're like, I know I'm shitty at fishing. It's like when I on YouTube, I would get... It's so funny. Like, my biggest claim to fame was my deadlift strength, right?
Okay.
And the reason why my deadlift was so impressive, like, it was heavy deadlifts I was doing, but it's because I didn't look like I was big, because I had my skinny legs. So it's like people would always rag on me for how like pathetic I looked, right?
Yeah.
And it's so ironic because I'm like, I'm like, because I looked like I didn't lift, but could lift a lot of weight, made me popular.
Yep.
If I could look like I lifted all the weight, I would just be a dude who could lift
everybody else. Yeah.
So I would just lean into like, I do have skinny ass legs. I do live at home in a trailer with my mom.
Yeah, sleeper. Yeah. So that's kind of the direction. Like that's why we picked the name Googan. It means shitty fisherman. So then we leaned into it. Then it was like none of the industry wouldn't take us serious. The fishermen wouldn't, and then the companies wouldn't. But we had this really big following.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we're trying to go get in like Mystery Tackle Box, Catch Co. Like those guys were super supportive. They were the reason why we like got the house and like they helped pay for it and stuff like this. We had some like good partners early on, but then it was just like Stonewall. But like yet they'll give the Van Dam, hundreds of thousands of bucks, and we're like, no offense, but like we probably have more influence. Maybe not than Van Dam. He's the beast. But like nobody took us serious. So then we were like, F it, we're gonna go make all of our own shit. So we made all of our own apparel, rods, reels, lines, lures, you name it.
That's when it just started really.
And that's when it was like, we're just gonna do everything our own. In partnership with Catch Co. Catch Co helped out a ton, but like we just made our own baits, and it was great because we got to design them how we wanted them. So you grow up being like, man, if this worm was shaped like this in this color, it's like I made my own bait in my own color scheme that I wanted, and then we'd go prototype it on videos and bring the audience with us through that entire journey, which is something that nobody had done at the time.
Bro, that's like what you just said is like the thing I always like preach to people about when they're trying to figure out like a business or a product to do. It's like you just look at the things you already use and you just think of, I wish it was this little bit different. I wish I had this feature. I wish it didn't do this thing. Or, with clothing, it was like, oh, I hate how it fits the calves. Or, I wish, why doesn't it have zippers on the shorts or something small. And then you just got to think, I bet there's a lot of people that also like think this same way. But just it's who takes the first kind of initiative and then then you start learning shit from there.
Yep.
How big did the Googan Squad get? Kind of wrap up the Googan Squad chat.
As far as what was big
subs.
I think that channel's like 1 million subs right now, maybe.
Ugh.
It was up there, yeah. It's still going. It's just
walked away from 1 million subscriber channel.
no, we didn't walk. It's still like we still upload on it, but like.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. But like I'm not as like, because most of this happens in Dallas, and I'm not from Dallas, and like I decided not to move to Dallas. But like John B actually moved to Dallas. He's from Illinois. Lunkers TV is already there. Lake Fork guy's already there. So like the HQ and the office is in Dallas. So like those guys still run around, but like we nothing fell apart. It was just kind of like we're all under the agreement that like we're kind of just living our own lives now. Like we all got kids and wives and
growing up's a real bitch, isn't it?
yeah. I mean it happens.
Yeah,
yeah. So it's just it still gets uploaded on. It's not like it's a dead thing, but like having like the core 4 guys or 5 guys all like we used to be like we can't post that video because John B wasn't there.
Yeah.
Then you get really relaxed. That's why COVID really changed it because it's like I can't get to Dallas, right? And so then they would go film without me, and it was like, oh my God, Flair's not in this video. I wonder if he left, right? Everyone's like, and then people understand like, hey, you're just busy, like it's just shit.
Y'all should have just each filmed in like your own thing of water, and then be like, dude, what do you think about this? And you spin the camera, and
it goes to the next
and
guy?
It transitions to like as if you're in the same water.
We didn't do it that cool, but we've done those before where it's like 1v1s, but like I'm in Nebraska and somebody's in Chicago or something. We've done that. During COVID, you had to get creative. So like that happened with COVID, and then COVID kind of ended, and I had my first kid in 21, so I got married during COVID. That was great. And then had a kid, and then some of the other guys have had kids and gotten married since. It all just kind of happened. And then like I bought like 80 acres and a house in 2019.
The place you live now is 80 acres?
No.
Oh.
That place I bought was 60, and I've sold 20 acres since then. So I'm on 40 right now.
Oh my God, bro. I just bought 5 acres, and I was like, this is huge.
Yeah. So
I used to live on like hundreds of acres when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
In like Virginia.
Nice.
Yeah, in like the mountains, like out in the boonies and shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like aware of like that kind of world, but damn, that's crazy.
So that's where I was going with that is like, 19, bought that place, COVID happened, and then like farming and homesteading really picked up during COVID. And like I thought that shit was cool because I was like from the city, but I always liked hunting, fishing, farming, survival camping, whatever. And so I started making videos like in my house, my backyard. That's like where the backyard videos came from. And those went freaking nuts during COVID because everyone's like, oh, this is cool.
How much does 80 acres in Nebraska cost?
Depends on where you're at. At the time.
Can you say how much yours cost? How much you spent on?
On mine? Yeah. The problem is there was a house with mine. So like take out the house. Not the house I live in, but there's a house that I rent out there. The 80 acres, and it was actually Iowa. They only appraised at like $240,000. But I know. I'm painful because I'm like, right now where I live, you're like 25 grand an acre.
Guess how much I paid for?
I'll guess.
Guess how much I paid for 4.88 acres in one of the most rapidly growing cities in America. It's actually the most rapidly growing city in America.
Per acre, or just the total?
Just so the whole thing. 5 acres.
5 acres.
On the water, corner. Okay, on the river.
I don't know if I'm shooting high or not.
I think your mind's gonna be blown.
849.
849,000.
Yeah, am I high?
$2 million.
What the hell? No way.
$1.9 million. Yeah, it was for each plot of like 1.6 acres was like $700,000.
You're shitting me.
Yeah, $1.9 million for that. I know, bro. And here. Wow. So the lot that I bought prior, that was
you were planning on.
Yeah,
right?
1.1 acres on the water. That one was $600,000.
Dude.
And they say that Texas is cheaper, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You paid how much for 80?
So where I'm 80 was like 240,000.
Oh my God. They're just giving it away, bro.
That was that was out there. You're 30 minutes from a gas station, right? You're out there. Now where I live, I'm 5 minutes from anything, Walmart, you name it. And that's like I said, I paid about 8,000 an acre, but they're all going for 25 and 30 now.
So you're basically Yellowstone, bro.
Yeah, just sitting on a gold mine. Yeah. So so it's a little cheaper where I'm at than here.
Shit.
Thank God.
Oh man. Okay.
So it'd be hard to do what I do because I need land to like go hunt and fish and do it. I couldn't survive down here.
Oh, so
I'd
you're
go broke.
You're yeah, bro, I can't.
Fast.
People's minds are gonna be blown. I don't think I'd never told how much that fucking land cost.
That's insane. That's
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, I'm thinking 800. No, that'll be high. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I hate. Yeah. But I did. There was an article that came out like a couple days ago that the area where I lived is the fastest growing city in America.
That's crazy.
So I think
It'll hold its value.
I think I bought the stock low, bro.
Yeah,
I
you'll
think
be
I got
good.
this like good area.
Yeah, you'll be good. Crazy though.
Okay, so all the hunting and stuff you do is on your own land?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. For some reason I'm like, where is this dude? Is he going to the woods? I
Yeah.
don't even know where you go. Like I'm in Virginia. Yeah, you just go out, but
Yeah,
so it's on your land.
Yeah, I mean, I made one hunting video this year on public. The rest is private. So I own, my ranch is 350 acres. My house is on now 40. And then by our office, actually, I've got another 100. So I've got like 600 acres.
Oh
And
my
it didn't cost
bro.
me nearly, like, combined. Think about this. What do you think about it? Nah, I'm over that. Okay, never mind. I'll say combined, I bet I paid less than what you paid, but I paid more than that for everything.
But not like dramatically amount more.
Oh, no, like, it's close.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah.
You have like 600 acres?
Total, yeah.
Now let me ask this, because I don't know. I'm currently watching Yellowstone, which I'm enjoying.
Yeah, it's good.
Now,
Yeah.
when you buy that amount of land, do you now own the animals that are on it, or are those mofos trespassing on your property?
You don't own it. Yeah, you can't own animal. Like, yeah, no. Like deer, no. And like ducks, no. Like you don't own. You can buy a goat, right? But like you don't own wildlife like that comes on it.
Is all your land? Are you like backed up to other like land, or is it all like? Is it segmented off? Do you have a giant fence around it, or is it just like? John down the street owns the other connecting part of the land.
Yeah, I mean most properties are divided by like a barbed wire fence at the least.
Like, how do you know when you get to the end of your land, you're like, oh, I'm trespassing.
Yeah, but like barbed wire fence usually. Like just like it could be a shitty one, but like usually everything's got fence somewhere. But like my ranch, that's like 350 or 400 acres. That one actually came with a high fence on an 8-foot woven wire fence around the whole thing. It was almost not a square mile, but like whatever. Because he would put like ostriches out there and like exotic hunts, which is like not a Nebraska thing. You get that a lot in Texas. So when we bought it, we wanted to whitetail hunt it, which you couldn't do.
I don't know what that means.
Deer, whitetail deer.
Okay.
It's like a species.
They got that white ass.
Yeah. We wanted to deer hunt it, and the game warden's like, you can't, because like technically they're like it's like almost like pets. Like we went and took down the fence around the whole.
That took some time.
Yep, got a whole bunch of subscribers out there and knocked it out.
I guess I didn't process. I guess that makes sense, but I didn't know like you're just on your own land, so you can just shoot, miss, doesn't matter because it's just going.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
How do you even like? What do you even? I guess is the idea of owning that much land is that you give to your family if you can do anything you want, and then eventually, if you ever needed the money at like last resort, you could just sell off chunks of land. Or is where you are something that, I mean, I know you can't maybe predict like maybe 50 years in the future or like distant, but like in your lifetime, do you think the area where all your land is something that like development would want to happen, whether it be master plan communities or like commercial real estate, or is it just like land out there?
It like the ranch I've got that's like got a ton of land. That's like out there. That's pretty much like rec ground, like hunting. It's not going to turn into anything. So it's all spread out. So like the big property that I've got, it's like almost 2 hours from my house now. It was only an hour when I lived, and then I moved closer to the city, but I kept that property. The 100 acres that's by the office, that could turn into development. That's just like the deer and duck hunting. And
are you looking to sell? Would you like? Are you?
Oh, I'd sell.
Are you always like?
Oh yeah,
waiting
sell
for a phone call that's like, we'll give you $7 million for.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I've sold because I bought. I don't know. I owned like four different properties when I lived called down south in Iowa. And when I moved, I sold all of them but the ranch. The only reason I kept the ranch is because the deer are freaking huge. It'd be impossible to find another property that's like that. Like they're like trophy.
I'm wondering like what. So you just
Trophy
the whole reason you bought the ranch was to like hunt and
just shoot big deer.
And
That's it.
it's like
It's an investment.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like, I don't know. One day I'll probably have to sell the ranch because it'll be worth something, and maybe I don't go down there as much, or maybe I'll keep it. I don't know. But like, I don't like, if you watch Yellowstone, your perception of land is probably a little different than what my reality is. Like I buy properties for YouTube content only.
That's crazy.
Only. So like if I'm like, I want a new place to duck hunt, make duck hunting videos, and like this place comes up in the duck hunt, I'll buy it just for that. And then I'll go in there, make a ton of improvements, bring in, I've got a bunch of equipment, and like all the guys will put in like cool blinds and do all these things. And then when I moved north, and I was like, that's 2 hours away. Do I want to drive 2 hours to duck hunt? No, I'll sell it. And then I wouldn't say you double your money, but like you make good money on
Have you, I don't know about touched every area, but have you explored every piece of your property at some point?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because you could just, if you're like, Max, you ever come out there, we could just get on, a Polaris and just rip it for hours, like just into wherever.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You can explore it, yeah.
Okay, so the hunting thing. Now, I myself have never, I've never hunted. I've never hunted in my entire life.
Really? Growing up on a bunch of land, you guys?
No.
You just went to the grocery store but wanted to live in the woods? What's the point of that?
Well, I didn't choose where I live.
True.
I mean, I would just I like lived outdoors for like the first 10 years of my life. Like I was out in the woods with my brother all day, every day. Like in the creeks, building forts, just exploring.
Gotcha.
But no, I've never like been with someone hunting. I've definitely never shot like a deer or I mean anything. How did you get into hunting?
My dad just started taking me when I was younger, and like some of my buddies that I'm now friends with, they took us out and like introduced us to duck hunting and stuff.
Now, what do you say to the anti-hunters there of the, oh yeah, you killed a big deer, but yeah, you have a gun. Do you like what's the art of hunting? Like for example, like in my head, I'm like, are you sitting up in a tree? Do you like track them, or like what's the process of hunting?
Depends on what you're hunting. I mean, like deer is ambush, or sit and wait, right? I mean, I guess that's for most hunting. Like yeah, deer you could be in a tree, and like we do guns, we'll do bows, which is like much harder than a gun. Much harder.
Like a crossbow. Can you use a crossbow?
Yep, I've shot them with a crossbow. Yep.
Have you just done an old school bow and arrow?
Yep.
All for YouTube content.
Yeah, just like whatever.
And so you can shoot. I put like 3 F-bombs in my videos. It gets demonetized.
Yeah.
But you can shoot a deer. Like, can you show the deer getting shot on YouTube?
Yeah. There's a fine line.
Yeah.
The short answer is yes. We've learned, me and the community, like we've learned like blood's their big thing.
Yeah.
So like if I walk up to the deer and he's dead, right, and he's got like a big hole in him, I'll just put black and white, and I'll still show it, but I'll just black and white it, and it usually passes.
So walk me through the hunting process. So let's say you're like, all right, I'm gonna go shoot some deer, or a deer, I don't know. And then so once you have executed the deer, what then happens?
Once you shot him, is that what you're saying?
Are you like? Because I've been with a friend who was into hunting, and they would eat it.
Yeah.
They would you have to hang it from a tree, drain it, skin it. It was like, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of do whatever you want. Like my protocol, like I'll go hunt, we shoot, you do what you call field dressing, which just means you basically split it and rip all the guts out. That's basically it.
Out in the woods?
Yeah, you leave it. Yeah.
You
just leave it in the woods for coyotes and whatever else can tear it apart.
Okay, so you're shooting for the sport of like...
No, sorry. You leave the guts, not the deer. Was that what you're saying?
Yeah, I've never done it.
Okay,
I don't know.
So you go up to the deer, you split it.
Okay, so deer's dead.
Split it, rip the guts out.
No, split it is like...
Ish, yeah. It's a little bit more, but yeah. I mean, hatch it and cut it all, get it all apart, get all the guts out. So all you're left with is...
How long does that take?
3 minutes.
Yeah. Bare hands?
You can. I mean, they make field gloves that I've done both. If I don't have gloves, I'll just do it. But sometimes it's nice to not have.
Oh my gosh, bro!
It's not that bad. I mean, you used to be. Yeah, I mean, you're getting up there, you're cutting everything out, you're pulling all the organs out, all the guts out, all the intestines out, and you just lay them off to the side.
So you're leaving the insides.
Leave the insides.
Taking the outside.
And then depending on what you want to do, a lot of times I'll just take it to a processor because he already has some of my I shoot between 3 and 5 deer a year probably, depending on
a year.
Yeah, per year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't. Most people only shoot a couple, but I'll shoot more than that because I've got property in different counties. There's different permits, and then my camera guys are my buddies that I'm with in my videos. So some of the guys they'll shoot too. So the 5 to 7 deer includes theirs. So I'll usually just take it to the same processor because he's already doing the rest.
What
of
does
them.
processing mean? What is he doing?
So you drop off the deer with the skin on and everything, and then he'll hang it like you're talking about, skin it, and they basically carve out all the meat on it, and then you can either, depends on what you want to do with it. Like they'll either grind it up and they'll just give you like, here's basically ground beef. They can mix it with pork.
Ground deer.
Ground deer. They can mix it with pork because like deer can be a little gamey. So like if you're like, I don't really like.
I've never eaten deer.
It's like gamey is like, it could be like an irony taste, like a little like blood, you know, where you're just like, this isn't quite beef. It's called,
I don't think I'd like that.
Probably not. So they can mix it with pork, like pork fat, which will help with that. And then, or they could make it into like jerky and sticks. Like if you've had like a jalapeno, cheddar, like you can make kind of whatever you want out of it. Or they'll just cut off, you know, the back straps and the, you know, hamstrings, like basically this part of the deer, and like just give you like the roast and give you the steaks. And then it's just like, it's like raw form. So like I do that mostly, but like I've also processed them myself where like I'll just take them home, you hang them up on a gambrel and you just do it all yourself. It's just a lot of work, but you can do it.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Do you ever, do you ever just kill the deer? You're like, all right, I killed this deer, I'm out. Or like you're like.
You can't do that. It's illegal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you get fined.
Why?
It's called wonton waste.
What?
Wonton waste.
I've learned that all things go back to the earth. Why would that?
I mean,
is it unethical?
Yeah,
or is,
it's just on it. Like,
but the wolves are gonna eat it.
I mean, somebody could argue that you're feeding the predators, but like, yeah, it's still against the law. You can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of heads in your house?
A few, not a ton. I've got probably three or four deer, and then I went to Africa in 2018 and brought back some animals from that, like, and have them around my house and stuff.
What do you FedEx the head or something?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It was quite the process. Yeah, but they'll ship it, and then you have it taxidermied in the States, and then you have to ship it to you. It's a super expensive process, but
okay, you can get as technical on this as possible.
Okay.
What is the biggest game you've ever, like, what is the, I don't even know how you'd ask the question.
Yep.
What's like the best thing you've ever done?
Hunted?
Yes.
Best or biggest or what?
Just the biggest trophy thing that everyone would be like, oh shit, really?
Oh.
Like if you were to be like, I caught a 700-pound bass, you'd be like, oh fuck, like.
I mean, aside from like Africa, like I shot a deer a couple years ago. We named him the Freak because his antlers were crazy, and he was like pushing like 200 inches is what they call it. So they measure the antlers, and there's like certain areas they measure, and they add it up, and it's like a formula, and it's like this whole thing. But like a 200-inch deer is like a once in a lifetime deer, and I shot one at the ranch, which is why I don't sell the place because it's got really big deer.
It's got 200 inchers out there.
Yeah, it'd be. I'm trying to like. It's hard. 'Cause, yeah, I don't know what you'd compare it to. Like it's trophy. Like.
Do you only shoot deer? Only hunt deer? Or like.
No, I shoot ducks.
Okay.
Big into duck hunting.
Like when they're in the air?
Oh yeah. I mean, I water swat too. Yeah.
How do you aim for those? I mean, I see all your thumbnails holding up the ducks and stuff.
Yeah.
You just shoot them out of the. Do you hit them more than often than you miss them? What are you using?
Shotgun.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Not a rifle. Do I hit them more than I miss? I don't know. I mean, do I shoot like, you know, my duck to shell ratio, right? I bet like on average probably 3 to 1. That doesn't mean I shoot 3 times at every duck, but like over the course of a season, probably 3 to 1.
What do you do with the ducks?
Eat them, clean them, and eat them. So those you can't take the processor, but like we don't. There's no real reason to.
So you're going hunting, and then like your wife's calling, and you're like, "Baby, we're eating good tonight."
She doesn't like it, but yeah.
Does she hunt?
No.
Oh.
No, she's never hunted. But she likes to fish every once in a while. She's not like super into it.
Was that someone like when you met her? Did she have to accept that you were into it, or was it like normal for you? Okay.
Ironically, we met fishing. Pretty cool story. But we met in 2015. So I'd have been like 18. She was 17.
And you met young.
Yeah, she was still in high school. She was a junior.
High school sweethearts.
Yep, kind of. I wasn't in high school, but it's close. But yeah. So what happened was I worked at Shields. There was another girl at Shields that I worked with, and she was friends with my now wife. And my wife's parents were building a house on a lake, and like they just had the lot. And they were like, "Oh, we like want to see if there's any fish in the lake, but I don't know how to fish." And then her friend was like, "I know this guy.
He's a Googan though.
He's weird. He makes YouTube videos and films himself catching fish, but he would know how to catch fish." And her response was, "Do not invite him. He sounds like a dweeb, you know?" And so they had a different guy lined up, and he backed out. I didn't know any of that. You know, I know this now. At the time, I was like out of the loop. So anyway, this girl comes up and she's like, "Hey, you should come out to this lake and show me and my friend how to catch fish." I'm like, "Okay." So I show up. You know, my wife was there and her friend, And like honestly, I paid no attention to either of them. I was just like, oh, this is a sweet lake. I'm gonna go freaking catch them. Like I
Like
know
the girls are cool, but look at this.
I had no desire to teach them how to fish. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go, catch a bunch of fish.
Yeah.
So I just like went crazy catching fish, and they just like watched, and like that was it. And like there was like we didn't talk or anything. And then like her friend was like, hey, you should hang out with my friend. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm good. I'm gonna go professional bass fish. I don't need no women in my life.
Then you cast your lure and caught her heart.
Sure. Sure. So that's how we met. And then it just, it was like, okay, cool, fine, we'll go hang out. But I was like, it's not that I didn't like her. I was just like, I'm about to go full travel YouTuber, fisherman. I don't need any of this female business.
Either strap on or get out.
And it was just like, all right, she's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So then it just like kept hanging out and started dating, and now we're married with 2 kids.
That's a beautiful love story, man.
Yeah, thanks. Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned from you, from like our first interaction to, especially with all this land and whatnot, you're quite the businessman, man.
I try.
What like if you had to like make like a pie chart of like of just like your livelihood of like money coming in, like what percentage is like what are kind of the chunks? Is like YouTube the biggest thing, or like I don't know, I mean, or is it like I know you own a bunch of different businesses.
Yep.
Is like the business side, like is YouTube the most profitable thing at the moment?
Yeah.
Or like how does it like break apart?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, YouTube makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. That's where I've made most of my money over the years.
Has it only gone up?
No, it's down.
Yeah.
It's down. Like 2020, 2021 were the years. Holy shit, were they the years? Like,
We're like, this is never gonna end.
COVID money, you're just like, damn, And then it's good. It's not like going down,
Yeah.
but now I'm like, kind of just like tapered. And then I'm slowing down the uploads, right? So like obviously you're gonna make less money. So like,
Right.
I've accepted that. So YouTube does well. I do fair share of brand deals, with different just YouTuber friendly Factor or something. I don't know, whatever. Just like
Factor, I just met her.
well, yeah. So Factor's good. So anyways, like so that makes decent money, and then the businesses make money, but I haven't taken anything. You get it. You get it.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of in the. I mean, I don't know like the interworkings of like your network of world and businesses and whatnot, but that was like it's when I was starting like Ever Forward the clothing and then Sour Strips. It was more of like felt super fortunate because I was like I can literally reinvest every single dollar because social media Flair is like that. All the money that's more than supports your life. So it's like you don't even need to do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are the brands that you either own or a big owner in that maybe you can say? I don't know if you're in a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. So BeefCake Jerky's the newer one, I should say.
Yeah.
Launched that in 23. So that's big. We've been super busy with that. And then Ducks Bucks. So duck hunting brand, Bucks, a deer hunting brand. And we consolidated those to one website this year. So I own that company as well. And then the Googan.
Like you founded it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know how much I can get into this. But like.
Please keep it surface level.
Yeah. I mean, like started Googan in 16, started Ducks in 17, started Googan Baits in 18, and then rolled it all up into one company called House of Outdoors, including Ducks and Bucks. So I started Bucks in 21, I think. So it was all one.
So you started a company called Ducks, then you started a company called Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get any sort of like, were you able to snag any like really nice like websites or trademarks for those?
I mean, duckswaterfowl.com, and then it was buckshunting.com were the two I had. And then we consolidate to ducksbucks.com this year.
Rolls off the tongue,
which
and it makes sense.
It makes sense. Well, and like people would buy both and then pay shipping twice, and it kind of pissed me off because I'm like, they're getting screwed.
Yeah.
Now that it was all fulfilled in one place, I'm like, just have one host. Then you could share. The customer only has to pay shipping once.
Right.
So it rolled all those up into one company, so to speak, and kind of rolled with that. And now I've taken Ducks and Bucks and brought it to Omaha, which is where I live. The rest of it's all down in Dallas. And then BeefCake Jerky was started out of my garage. And so we've kind of married those companies together and share assets. Not assets, but like employees and stuff.
What year did you say, how long have Ducks and Bucks collectively, like when was the earliest that the one started?
2017.
Okay. Has Ducks and Bucks, is it still surpassed BeefCake?
Has it surpassed as far as what, like rev?
Yeah. Is it a bigger company still, or is like?
I mean, as of right now, Ducks and Bucks is bigger. but it's getting close.
Yeah.
It's definitely getting close. They're so different too. Like ducks and bucks is great. Like I mean I love all of them. Like they all have, you know, it's like when it's duck season I'm pumped, when it's deer season I'm pumped, when it's just eating snacks I'm pumped, right? Like but like ducks and bucks it's super niche, right? Like you either like deer hunting or duck hunting, or like you probably don't give a shit. Versus jerky, it's like I don't care what you do in your free time, you like this stuff.
Everyone likes jerky.
Everybody. So like,
but no one likes when people eat it on a plane because it's stinky.
Correct. So it's, you know, which one I think is bigger? I think the upside of BeefCake is tremendously bigger because it's not in a niche market.
Yeah, it's a more widespread.
It could be huge, right? Like, you know, there's no limit. There's no limit, right? So to answer your question, they're pretty neck and neck right now, but like give it some time, and I think BeefCake will probably take it over.
Well, and if they're neck and neck, and you just started this 2 years ago, you know, ish, and then comparison to 2017.
Yep.
Okay, let's dive into the jerky, bro. How'd the name come up?
So kind of similar to the shoo conversation. You're like, where'd that come from? Like, I don't know. BeefCake. I just like started saying it in videos a few years ago, like 2019.
In what fashion? Like you were a beefcake?
In a very sarcastic, because if you Google beefcake, it's weird.
I'm sure, I can only imagine.
Don't. But like, so we never said it in a serious way. And like, I would have like these farm animals, right? And like, maybe I've got this like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example. Like I have like a little duck, right? And like, he would go and like try to like, I don't know, mate with one of the big ass geese or something. I'm just making this story up. Like, look at that beefcake over there. He's getting a figure. It's not always about that, but just like it would be in a sarcastic manner where it's like if there's an animal or a person, maybe I'd be like jokingly calling one of my buddies it, and it'd be like, I don't know, if you go to the gym, again, not that you'd want to make fun of these guys, but like, you just see a guy like trying to lift. It's like, yeah, clearly he doesn't belong. He's like, no. He's a beefcake, but it'd be sarcastic, right? So I'd just like start making jokes about beefcake.
I believe my wife thinks that I'm a beefcake.
I agree. Yeah. Well,
I think I'm a beefcake.
Yeah. No. I'm with you. So it wasn't in a like, oh, we actually think we're like good looking dudes, or it was all sarcasm, right? And so then it was like we came out. I remember being so hesitant. We came out with like beefcake merch as like a limited one-off drop, where like I literally just have like beefcake in like a tattered text with a flag, or like a cutout of a cow and it just said cake on it, and like had nothing to do with beef or cake or any of that. I just like made up. And it went freaking crazy. And I was like, I literally remember like talking to the guys. I'm like, no one's going to buy a shirt that just says beefcake on it. No context, no nothing. And it like went crazy. And I was like, why? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But like the audience just thought it was funny. I don't know why. So then we launched BeefCake Construction, which is that second channel. And so the whole point was like BeefCake Construction is just like a bunch of dudes who have no idea what they're doing. Basically Googan, right? Yeah. But like BeefCake,
trying to fix shit.
Just like, yeah, hey, we're gonna go build a cabin, and like, of course, we're doing it the way that we think is best. But as you know, everybody's a professional. The viewers.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Like, you know how many architects watch my view? Shit, everybody's a freaking architect.
Everyone's
right?
a financial advisor.
Yeah,
too.
correct. So like, so that's the same thing. We owned it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go build this cabin. Is it gonna be correct? Probably not. I don't care. I'm going to go do it with my buddies, and I'm going to film it, and these guys are going to watch it, and they're going to make fun of us, but I'm going to do it, and I am going to own it, and I'm not going to try to be the best. Like, that's the business.
You know, forever ago, I'm big into Jeeps.
Yep.
I can MIG weld pretty well, but so I built Jeeps throughout my whole life.
Okay.
I had like a tube bender in my backyard, bend tube, made roll cages, build bumpers, like fabricated, big into metal. Me and my friend would always joke about, because we'd do shit and it'd be like wrong or a little bit. But we would just always be like, good enough. And I always joke that I was like, I want to make like good enough fabrication. Like, it ain't perfect, but it's good enough.
That is BeefCake Construction. In fact, our tagline that we put on merch is, we are ocean approved, not OSHA. Because it's like, no, we're ocean approved. You're good. And everyone comments like, it's OSHA. I'm like, OSHA? What's OSHA? You know, like that was the joke, right?
Yeah.
So we have like T-shirts where people like ripping around and like high vis yellow. It says like, we are ocean approved, and like there's thousands of people that have this, bought it. So that's where the BeefCake, construction came in. So going back to your original question with jerky, it was like, I was just looking for the next thing. Like, I feel like most YouTubers are all the same. We're creators, right? We want to feel excited about the next thing, get excited about building and designing and stuff like that. And so like, Ducks and Bucks is great, Googan's great, but it's kind of, all of them were kind of just like set up and not on autopilot, but like they're doing their thing. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, man, I feel like I need something I need to like come up with something. But it's like, well, I don't want to like come up with another hunt or apparel brand, right? Or like hunting brand or fishing. I'm like, what else do we do? And it's like nothing. Like those are your videos. But I'm like, what product could you come out with that you could bring to market and sell that wouldn't compete, but something that you'd be passionate about? And like, that's what we do with a lot of our deer and our duck is we turn it into jerky.
Yeah.
So like jerky advocate already. I'm already snacking on it like crazy. And so I was like, man, I wonder if we made a jerky and it tasted like what you would get from a meat locker or whatever, where it's like a little bit more homemade, a little smokier, definitely more tender than what's out there on the market right now.
Meat locker?
Yeah, like a meat processor. Like it's like where you would take your deer.
Listen, when I buy jerky, I just go into the gas station. I get Jack's Links or something.
Yes. So like if you take your deer in, they give you, if you sign up, you want jerky, they give it back. And my opinion is that tastes better than what you get at the store.
Probably the freshest.
I'm like, okay. Could I make something? Like I already have my own jerky recipe that I make with my wild game. What if we just use that recipe on beef and then brought it to market? Because it'll taste like what I like, which is like more of a homemade style. But then everybody could buy it. So like we had two options, and we it's ready to launch if I ever want to. But we made a DIY jerky kit. So like you go kill a deer, you buy this kit, you take the meat, and it'll tell you, this many pounds is this much seasoning. This is how you cook it, and you can make your own jerky at home DIY.
Can you imagine me? I'd just be sitting with this. What do I do?
So that was my first idea because it's cheaper, right? You're selling seasoning. So I was like, let's do that. So that product's ready.
Oh, so you were going to sell just like seasoning. Mm-hmm. That was the original idea.
Well, because I'm just like, this is, in my opinion, the best jerky. How can we get it in the market? We'll sell how to make it, and then that way you can use your own meat, which we could still do. But then I'm like...
That's still so niche.
Like, that's exactly. I'm like, that's just how many people are really going to be... I'm like, if people are lazy, including myself, I'd rather just buy it done. So can I just make it? So that's what spawned the question. I'm like, jerky I think fits where I can still promote Ducks, Bucks, Googan, all this, no one's going to get stepped on toes. Nothing's going to get, I don't know what the word is. Like, you're not going to, consume one to benefit the other,
right.
Or cannibalize. Like, you're not going to do any of that. And so then we were trying to come up with a name, for this jerky company. Cause I'm like, let's just do jerky, beef jerky, not pork, which we do now. And so he's like trying to come up with a name. And like, obviously like BeefCake was already we had BeefCake Construction, BeefCake Merch. So BeefCake made sense. But I'm like, do I want it really attached to me, right? If you want to scale a brand, maybe live beyond the YouTube years, do you want...
The answer's no, you don't.
Yeah. Do you want it to be attached? And that's why I was like hesitant, but I was like... So I remember being in the car with my buddies, and I was like, I'm going to look it up. If it's not trademarked, and we can buy the domain, we're doing it. If not, we'll come up with something else. And like it was free. It's a
great name. It's easy to remember. Rolls off the tongue.
Free and clear. So then I was like, all right. So I wasn't like in love with the name, but it made sense. And I was like, I was apprehensive because it did attach directly to me. But obviously that's what.
But kind of like if you know.
That's what gets it kicked off. So then we launched. Start with the manufacturer. And it's like I'm like, hey, here's the recipe. So you find like a co-manufacturer because like I can't make it in my garage. It's not USDA approved. There's freaking meat's insane, the regulations. Like I'm sure candy's probably got a lot, but meat, holy shit.
Yeah. So
many regulations. So you have to find a facility that'll make it. So I'm like bringing them the ingredients, like do it like this. And so we're kind of R&Ding it with them. And then that's when we started exploring into pork jerky because it was like a more tender, in my opinion, more flavorful product. And I'm like, how are we going to launch pork jerky if the name's BeefCake Jerky? It didn't make any sense. But I was like, but this product is freaking good. Like, I have to do it. So either we change the name or we just say, screw it.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it. I don't care. Just do it. So I was like, all right, we're doing pork and beef. And like pork today still sells better than beef.
No, it's
and
great,
I think it's a great product.
No, you've shipped us a ton. And like everyone that tries it here at the office, whether it be my employees, my wife, like loves it. Me. Like it's great, man.
Yep.
Like a lot of the sweet hot stuff, the peppered is like so good. I don't know what I can and can't with my dog, but whenever I have the regular one, I give it to my dog. Loves it.
Yeah,
the sweet heat. Like they're like it's. I'm not like a jerky connoisseur.
Sure.
I've had the main big brands, I guess, like casually.
Yeah.
But phenomenal product.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Okay, so you had this idea. You get going. You find a manufacturer.
Yep.
How was like the initial like? How did you like? What was the initial reception from your audience of like? Because I remember that was when I first found out about you when you reached out. Like I was like, oh shit, this guy. It's like I loved that. Like when I watched the videos of like, he's launching the jerky, and I watched the videos of like, it's like just you and your buddies like packing the orders and doing all this shit. I was like, bro, this is exactly what I did. Like this is exactly. And you're further along in the game, like on a success level in terms of like you have the ability to outsource all this shit, like
Sure.
let someone else do it. But I was like, it's him and his boys doing it, like packaging the orders, doing the customer service, like doing all this shit.
Yeah. So we launched it out of my house in my garage. It was like we didn't have a warehouse or anything like that, but it was like, we started teasing samplers and stuff like I would say like 3 to 4 weeks out from like launch. We're like, hey, we're working on this project. Trying to get made in your neighbor's garage type jerky, to the market. We did as small of a run as the manufacturer would let me, right? And I'm like, holy shit, like this is scary. I'm like, is anybody really gonna buy jerky online? Like, I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me in my head. I'm like,
That's what I thought about. We am I gonna buy candy from a YouTuber?
yeah. Why would you go online? Just go to the store, right? Like that's in my. I'm like, so in my mind, I'm like, order the MOQ. Let's just try it. If we sell out, maybe we'll bring it back.
How many units? How many bags did you?
I feel like 10,000.
Okay,
was probably
my launch was 20,000 units.
Yeah.
Was like my opening launch.
Yep. So it's 10,000, and I was like, dude, this is scary. Like my whole garage is filled with this meat. I don't know how to. I mean, I'm like watching tutorials on ShipStation.
Yeah.
I don't know how to ship shit. I go to the post office. Like I knew nothing. Even though like Ducks, Bucks, Googan, all those businesses were like big and booming. Like I didn't handle any of that stuff. We didn't we had 3PLs or like whatever else.
Okay.
Like I knew nothing about that side. So I'm like,
why did you decide to do it all yourself versus?
Because I was just frustrated with previous stuff, like just not having control. And I don't feel like I'm like a control freak. Like I love delegating more than anybody, but it was just like, I don't know, you would just like run into hurdles, especially like all of the operations, for those other businesses were in either Dallas or Oklahoma City, and I'm not there. And not that I'm like, I know how to fix shit, but it's hard to you call somebody with a problem and they're like, oh, there's just nothing we can do about it. And I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah.
Figure it out. And so I told everybody, I said, the only way I'm going to do this jerky business and go head first is if we control all aspects.
Yeah.
The supply, the warehousing, customer service. I want from A to Z, I want my hand in control of everything because I don't want to start a business and it fail because I don't have my hand on something.
And you learn everything.
Every aspect.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm like, signing up for a USPS stamps account, linking it with Ship Hero.
Yeah.
Starting up a Shopify, had to go buy a domain from GoDaddy, and I'm like putting all these pieces together myself, me and the guys. And so it's like we launched, and had no idea what we were doing, and just threw 2 flavors. It was original teriyaki, and then we did some bundles, or throw a hat in or hoodies, t-shirts, whatever. And we had some allocated to the bundles, but most of it was on its own. It was I think it was 2.5 or 3 minutes, and it was sold out.
3 minutes sold out 10,000 bags.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
Man, I thought
shit.
I thought my shit was when I did it. It took like an hour.
Yeah. But it's still, hours. That's really good. Yeah, really good.
And I don't know if you had the same mindset. I remember telling people around me, I was like, for me to know this success, I was like, it has to sell out in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
I didn't think it'd be the same day. I was like, a day or two, but if it doesn't, it's gonna be a flop. You need that hype. You need to ride the train.
Yep.
Okay, so you sold. That's
it was nuts.
Fucking wild.
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah. So it sold out, and we were just like, holy shit. So then it was literally calling my neighbors, calling my buddies, we need help packing.
Yeah.
We have no idea what we're doing. So it was loading up. I had a decoy, a trailer, an enclosed trailer I used for duck hunting decoys. I'm like, get the fucking decoys out. We gotta load up USPS into this and then take it to the post office. Because I didn't know how to transport that. We don't have freight, obviously. And so take all the decoys out, sweep it out so it's clean. They were new, but we had literally just trash cans, 55, 60-gallon trash cans with poly mailers. So we didn't have, and so then we go to the post office and they're like, oh, why don't you just take these carts? I'm like, fuck, you have carts?
Yeah, and you can schedule pickups.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck?
So I'm like, what the hell? So it's get through the 10,000. It's about a month turnaround.
Yeah.
So we have to order our own bags. So the whole process. You're like, I want to start a jerky company. Okay, what bags they go in? Because the manufacturer doesn't supply those. They make freaking meat.
Yep.
They don't make bags.
A lot of people don't know that.
No, they don't get. So you're just like, okay, you got to make bags. Okay, what's the UPC on the back? So you got to go buy that and, register that. It's just shit you didn't know.
And you're like, how do I make a barcode?
Yes.
What's a GS1?
Yes.
What is that?
Yep. So it's we had to learn all that, design the product, design the bag, and then go source bags. So I'm Googling, what kind of bags do you use for beef jerky? Literally just Googling that. And it's it's, there's Flexo and there's digital, and digital is more expensive, but it's basically printing on a machine, but Flexo's a plate, and then they just roll it out. But the plates are $2,500.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
And every time you change the design,
you gotta
is a
get
new plate.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
Every time you want to change a word,
yes,
new plate.
New plate, $2,500, $2,500. And I'm sitting there going, no. So I'm like, let's do digital because we didn't know what we were doing, whatever. So it's like sourcing the bags, get the bags. And like, I remember one of them was, I'm trying to remember what it was. Like we accidentally left the wrong UPC barcode on like 2 new flavors. I was like, well, those 10,000 can't go to retail. So, I mean, like e-com, no one cares, but it's like those can't go to retail because they'll come up as an original, but it's peppered. Like, fuck. It's just like one thing, and all of a sudden it's like, thank God we didn't do plates because that would be another $2,500. Like, there's shit that people don't think about that you get. It's like, it can get really expensive. You start messing shit up, and like, I had nobody to ask. So you just mess shit up, and it costs a lot of money to fix.
Well, bro, like, this is so good for people who, like, people looked at like sour strips and they probably see what you're doing, and like everyone just thinks that like we have all the answers like straight out of the gate, right?
Yeah.
But what you're explaining is I relate to it so much because it's exactly what I went through. I had a little bit of knowledge from the clothing that I could transfer over, like the shipping stuff. But like it's like, oh, like how did you find out how to find the manufacturer? How did you find this? It's like I just Googled, and then I Googled some more, and I called people, they didn't answer, and then I emailed, they didn't answer, and then I like,
that's it.
And it just like shows like you just got to put in the work, and like you just figured out, and it's going to be expensive. You're going to mess up. You're going to spend a ton of money changing shit that you're like, oh, I just did this thing, and now I got to change it, spend money.
Yep, that's exactly the same process. Yep.
Okay, so. So you launched 10,000, and then when were you able to restock? Like how quickly after?
About a month.
That's what ours was.
Order bags takes 3. Digital depends on who you manufacture, but like 3 weeks we get bags. And like we found manufacturing like within driving distance of where I live, and that was huge. On like I was like I'm not starting the business unless I can oversee shipping, handling, like all aspects,
quality
including
control,
walk into the facility and watch them make it right. Like I wanted otherwise like I'm not gonna do it. And so that we would literally get the bags and then freaking throw them in the back of a truck and go bomb them an hour to drop it off at the manufacturer because I didn't want to pay for shipping. I love
hearing this.
I was like, I'm not paying for shipping. Like load up the truck. So it's like throwing shit in the back of my truck, hauling up to the manufacturer, hand dropping it off, and be like, when can you make this? When can you make it? It's like
I'll wait if it's right now.
Yeah. And then same thing when it would get done. They were like, we'll just freight it to you. Semi's only $500. I'm like, $500? Nope. Boy, get the truck. Go up there, load up the back of a box truck or whatever it is, bring it back, set it up, sell it. So I think the second round, we typically just doubled, right? So it'd be like, okay, 10,000. Okay, all right, let's try 20,000. But like the hype's gonna wear off, bro. So like, don't get wild.
How fast that one sell out?
I don't have like a core memory, but it was under an hour for sure. It's like 35 minutes was probably that next drop. 20,000 units. And so it's like each month, so it's launched in June. So like each month we basically had like one drop and it would last like a day at most, depending on like how many bundles we would do. Like when we make bundles are like $500. You'd get like hoodies, hats, t-shirts, stickers, koozies, all the shit. And then like 10 bags of jerky or 20 bags of jerky. So like you'd have like a $500 item and that would still take, a day and then it'd be gone. And then I think it was like either August or September, it launched a new flavor. So it was like every 3 months or so, like every quarter, we'd launch a new flavor, and then that one would go crazy, and then the rest would be not as, so it's like kind of just forecasting and projecting and stuff like that. And so it was after that first drop, or maybe even the second drop, I can't remember, that we were like, we have to get a warehouse. Like, this isn't going to work. We can't do this in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like, or not neighborhood, but like my house. Like, they're going to shut it down. Post office won't pick up. It's a residence. They're like, you're running a commercial. I call them, hey, can I do this? You're running a commercial business at your house? That's a violation of this. I'm like,
do you have a permit to do this? A permit? What's that?
Yeah, for what? Yeah. And then stuff that people don't think about. So we launched in June. Manufacturer makes it. We go pick it up. We bring it to my house. We launch on the website that night or maybe the day after. Well, then you're like, it's summer. This shit has to stay climate controlled.
Yeah.
Oh shit, it's like, and my garage was like AC'd, which worked, but like, we're looking for warehousing, and it's like, oh, this has to be climate controlled warehouse. That's a whole different ball game of warehouses. Most warehouses don't have AC. Well, at least where we're at.
Same here. Yeah,
it's not common.
Struggle.
It's not super common, and so it's like finding. So we like got lucky and found a spot. It's like 10,000-ish square feet, and like I was like, geez, like we're never gonna fill this up, and like I'm gonna have to come up with like 4 other businesses, to like bring in to like make it make sense and pay the rent. And we ended up, DIYing. I bought all the pallet rack from Facebook, brought my trailer, picked it all up, put it up ourselves. Like we did.
I watched those videos.
Yeah, everything DIY, everything. And then we started bringing in by the pallets. Like each pallet's like, I don't know, a few thousand bags. Since like then we're bringing in by the pallet where we're actually like bringing semis in, and then I'm like, okay, we got to get a pallet stacker and a forklift, and I mean just like keeps going. And then the opportunity came up to bring Ducks and Bucks to Omaha. This was this last year. And it's like that needs a ton of space. It's so many SKUs, it take like hats, hoodies, t-shirts, coats. It take up so much decoys, take up so much space. So I'm like, geez, we got to find a new warehouse. Like we can't share basically because now BeefCake is like full.
Yeah.
Early on, I'm like, if Ducks and Bucks are here, this would be great, you know. And then
now you have to break your lease now.
Yep. And so, fortunately, the first one, I'm trying to think. The first one was 10,000 square foot. Then I ended up finding this other one where they're each like 12 or 15,000. I can't remember what it was, and they're next to each other, and it was down the street from a hunting property of mine, and I was like, damn. This is like perfect.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting in a contract with that, moving Ducks and Bucks up, running out of one building, BeefCake out of the other, and then since we've taken over a couple of the other warehouses in the same complex for like storage of cardboard and stuff like that.
Doesn't your current warehouse not have a loading dock?
Doesn't.
Bro,
it doesn't.
When you posted that video,
you were like, "You stupid motherfucker."
I think I texted you,
yeah,
right?
You did. You
I
did.
go, there's no way this man does not have a loading dock.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with that?
A forklift.
I bet it's taking you fucking forever to get those shipments off.
It is.
Oh my god!
It's just that was about the only flaw with that spot. I was like, other than that, it's perfect. It's perfect amount of office.
That's a big flaw.
It's a huge flaw. It's a huge flaw. But I was like, we'll just get a forklift. Let's all get certified. Figure it out. So it's like we all went to a class, got certified, and started whipping it around, and it works. It's not. We're not moving in and out of pallets as much as you are, obviously. So like, it's not
yet, bro.
Yeah. But we're shipment day. We take delivery. Yeah, I mean, it takes 30 minutes to unload a truck. You know,
is it at a point now where you're like able to have inventory kind of like at all times?
Yeah, it took the first year was like never in stock, and like better half of last year it wasn't. And then finally, but I'd say like over like summer, August, September, we're finally able to like keep it in stock.
So when that happened to me, when like each launch, like when the first couple launches and you sell out, you almost think you're invincible. Like this is going to happen indefinitely forever.
Yeah.
And then it just slowly slows down. Did that at any point like mess with your head a little bit? You're like, it's slowing down. Like, now we just have inventory.
Yeah. And
then I'd start seeing comments on mine like, it's not moving anymore. The hype's all died down from this. And did any of that mess with your head? I mean, it's
a little.
It's good that you have inventory.
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, I think a lot of it was like, the viewers saw the progression, right? So like they went from the garage to the one warehouse to the two warehouses and the bigger warehouses. So like it now being available, like maybe there's some people like, it's not as hype, but like people, I think if they have common sense, they understand it's in stock because now we have the carrying capacity.
Are you on Amazon?
We're on Amazon.
Okay, that's good.
Finally.
That was like I took too long to get on Amazon.
Yeah.
It was one of those like I want to drive to my website so I can maximize revenue and profit margins.
Yep.
You can't fight Amazon. You got to be on Amazon.
Yep. We're on Amazon now. Yep.
And so I'm assuming the future. So how many you're in Shields? Starting to be in
Shields, and then I mean it's hard to like keep track because we're in a bunch of different ones. We've linked up with a few distributors. We're in like randomly, we're in like 100 gas stations in Kentucky. So if you guys live there, you might be able to find it.
How many stores are you in at the moment?
Including gas stations?
Sure. Yeah. All
I mean, I'd say like 200. I'm guessing.
Okay.
We just started working with distributors like in August, September, because we finally that was our problem. It's like, Shields, we would like almost keep a separate stash for them because they're good partners. Like I work there. I've got a great relationship with them, and like they buy Ducks and Bucks gear, and it's a great deal on the Googan. And so like even when we'd get stuff in and like sell out, like there'd just be like a pallet for Shields, like of all the flavors because like they kind of were like, hey, we want your product, but like we see you're always selling out.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And you can't
anymore.
do that. You get it.
Well, I used to do that too when we got into like HEB and stuff. Is like you had to reserve. And
you have a reserve for Shields. And so like we were very careful about making sure they stayed supplied. And so now that we have the supply to like Shields is good, e-com's good, Amazon's good. Now let's go work with distributors and start, you're shipping pallets out at a time now.
As you I'm sure you're aware that like everyone, like I thought that I was like, gonna make candy online, but you start realizing that like people don't want to order. Like I don't want to order. Like I want to grab a bag of jerky at the gas station at the down the street, right?
Yep.
So now the next chapter of BeefCake Jerky is like you'll still have your loyal online audience and the people who are maybe on. You start doing subscriptions, whatever.
Yep.
But like you got to get into stores,
100%.
like, and that's like the future because like your margin's going to go down, and that's where you start learning about like how much do I sell to distributors for? How much do I like? You'll start learning all of that. And I'll give you some just piece of advice.
I'll take as much as I can get right now.
And first of all, don't be afraid to raise your prices.
Okay. To wholesalers, distributors, or what? Everybody.
Everybody.
Okay. All right.
You'll start thinking that like, especially if it's selling well. I'm not saying maybe stores; those are a little harder, but like distributors and stuff. I started way too low, and I was like trying to like sell it so cheaply, and then I was like, I'm gonna run myself on the ground because I can't afford to like keep scaling the business. And you thought when you have to raise the price 5%, 10%, whatever, you thought they'd like lose their minds and say no, but there's like okay,
as long as it sells, they
exactly
don't give a shit. Yeah.
That and the next thing is too, as you start getting into like distributors, I would highly advise against people are going to try to have you sign exclusivity and territory agreements.
Okay. Don't.
I haven't stay away from all
Okay,
that.
all right.
Unless someone's like I can cover an entire state immediately.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of it. Like, just be wary of signing shit that like
right.
because people talk a big game.
Yeah.
And then there's all these clauses that like it's you just don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But bro, I see a really bright future for the product. I think it's a phenomenal product.
Appreciate that.
I don't know the jerky space, but just like the candy space, I think that when I got in, it was kind of like, how am I going to compete against the big boys, right?
Yep, it's the same thing.
Same with jerky. I know the handful of like big brands out there, but then there's a lot of companies that are just like the jerky world's interesting because there's maybe like the Jack Links. That's like the first one that comes to my brain. But then there's always a shit ton of other ones that are just like it's just jerky and a poorly branded thing.
Yeah. Yep.
You have a really quality product, but like just like make the brand of BeefCake Jerky like the reason why people want to get it because and like that's what's gonna really push you because there's like you have to give people a reason to like when they see all the different options.
Yeah, why they're gonna go with you. Yeah,
why you can do it, man. But I think you got to just with your audience alone and just like as you're getting in the weeds and you start exploring, talking with different distributors, wholesalers, and going to stores and like, bro, it just a lot of times it's boots to the ground.
Yeah,
it's like
totally
literally put on a nice beefcake collared shirt, walk into like literally like grocery chains like I did with like HEB and go to the manager and just be like, hey, I'm a whoever, I had this company, I'd love to talk to manager and like bro, even just like doing that or being like, hey, I'd love to sample in your store, I'd love to do a test.
Yeah.
These stores, like all these stores are like looking for because all the stores want their store to perform really well.
Yeah.
So they want new and hot products.
Yep.
And so you just gotta like get people to give you a chance.
Yeah.
And bro, for every like 10 grocery chains you walk in, you talk to the manager about like, hey, here's who I am. Here's the product. I'd love for you to try it out. Do you like it? I'd love to do a sampling. I have this audience. I can drive traffic here, bro. You have like the perfect storm to like blow the brand up.
Yeah.
And it's great, man. I love watching you build it, and I love watching the content early on because it reminded me 100%. Like, I like just seeing you like install the racks, figure out shipping, package all this shit. I was like, but this is exactly what I did.
Yep.
And now people want the shortcut and just want to expedite all that and outsource everything. But the knowledge and like all the shit you're gonna learn is like. And you're already really successful, and it's not like you're like ride or dying on this.
Sure.
But you're really passionate about it.
Yeah, totally.
And and just like the work you're putting in now, and the fact that you're so in the weeds on this shit is gonna pay off tenfold, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it because it's a lot. You get it.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but I'm having a blast. Like, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing for me is like I've done lots of businesses. They've been not all successes, but decently successful, and it's like learning. I like the challenge when it's like, oh, you want to come out with jerky? It's like, okay, what package do they go in? Is it food grade? It's like all that, like that's the stuff that like I feel satisfaction when I can like figure that shit out. And it's not just me. I've got like a team of dudes with me, but like we're great together and everybody's really good at problem solving. Like that's what I always tell people. I'm like, if you're a good problem solver, like you can come hang out with us because that's all it is. It's all it is figuring out shit.
I want you to text me the day that you get your first lawsuit, because it will happen. You're gonna get an email for your jerky at some point.
Really?
100%. Because
cease and desist?
No.
Oh,
it won't be something like that.
Okay.
It'll be something like it'll be some bullshit. It'll be a lawyer that has a client that bought it because you deceived them in this way because of how you label it. It's going to be something.
No way.
And it's going to happen. It may be a year, 2 years, 3 years. But I want you to text me when it happens, because it will. And because you're just be like, fuck, Max said it would. It's happened to everyone that I know that starts CPG.
That's interesting.
And
okay.
Yeah.
Shit. Knock on wood.
And just know it'll go away quickly because it's frivolous. And you'll fix the little annoying problem. But it'll cost you some money and you get real mad. And but just it'll happen at some point.
Okay, I'll be bracing for it.
It's funny when it happened to me. I talked with all my buddies who have like big brands, and they're like, "This means you're a real business, bro." They're like, "Welcome to the club." Like, happens to all of us.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the last thing I want to say, what the fuck was I gonna say? I just had a whole brain fart on here. Bro, I'm blanking out. I don't know, bro. Fucking, I was like, I don't even know what I was gonna say, where I was going with that. I wish you the best with like all the jerky stuff.
Appreciate it.
And everything you're doing it. I think all the content you make is like so dope, and just seeing that I know behind the scenes, like you're crushing it in business, and like I'm sure your like successes with just your finance is like, the proof is in the pudding, and you're crushing it, bro. And it's cool to see. And I don't know if I'm gonna wrap this up. I know you gotta get on a flight.
Yeah, so we got a flight. Yeah.
A couple hours. You gotta get out of here. But hope you guys enjoyed this pod. I'm gonna put all your information and the companies down in the description. We'll check them out. We haven't done an interview in a while, but hope you enjoyed this. Leave a comment down below, like, share, subscribe, whatever. If any of your people over here, hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I wasn't a shitty host, interrupted a bunch.
No, you're great.
Yeah, new episodes every Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, unless you don't get one. Thanks so much for tuning in. Eat more sour strips. Never forward. Peace.